Hey guys, tonight you probably won't survive this. And that's not me being dramatic, well, maybe just a little. But it's the kind of honest reassurance you deserve before you mentally step barefoot into a prehistoric morning where comfort is optional, hygiene is negotiable, and the snooze button has not yet been invented. And just like that, it's the year 10,000 BCE, and you wake up in a shallow stone cave tucked into a limestone hillside, where the walls breathe cold and the air smells faintly of smoke, damp earth, and animal fur. You don't wake up suddenly. There is no jolt, no alarm, no buzzing rectangle demanding productivity. Instead, you surface slowly from sleep, like drifting upward through dark water. You feel it first in your body, a subtle shift in temperature. The fire has cooled. The warmth that once pooled against your side has thinned, retreating back into the stones. Your eyelids flutter, heavy, reluctant, as if opening them is a decision that costs energy. And in this world, energy matters. You lie still for a moment. Notice that. Stillness is not laziness here. It's strategy. Your breath is shallow at first, instinctively quiet, and as you inhale, you taste the cave. There's smoke in the air, old and soft, not sharp anymore. There's the earthy scent of straw beneath you, mixed with animal hide worn smooth from years of use. Somewhere nearby, you catch the faint herbal note of crushed mint or wild rosemary, tossed into the fire last night, not for flavor, but because someone learned long ago that certain smells keep insects away and minds calm. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. No pressure. This cave has enough pressure already. And if you feel like it, share where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. Morning, night, somewhere in between, we're all waking up together, just separated by a few thousand years. Now, dim the lights. You can't see much yet. The cave is a gradient of shadows, darker toward the back, softer near the entrance where the faintest hint of pre-dawn light presses in, blue and uncertain. The walls are uneven, textured, cool. You imagine running your fingers across them, stone smoothed by time, by hands, by generations who leaned here before you. The floor beneath you is layered carefully, first stone, then packed earth, then straw, then hides. Layering isn't luxury, it's survival. Each layer traps warmth, creates insulation, a tiny pocket of mercy between you and the cold ground that would otherwise steal heat straight from your bones. You shift slightly, and the sound feels loud in the quiet. Straw whispers. Fur sighs. Somewhere to your left, an animal stirs a low, warm presence. Maybe a dog. Maybe something not quite a dog yet. Its body radiates heat, shared intentionally during the night. You notice how warmth pools differently depending on where you slept. Bed placement matters. Too close to the entrance and the wind bites. Too far back and smoke lingers. Humans learned microclimates before they had a word for them. You pull a fur closer around your shoulders. Feel the texture coarse on the outside, softer underneath. It smells faintly of animal, yes, but also of smoke and herbs, which somehow makes it comforting, familiar. Your hands emerge briefly from the layers, fingers stiff, and you rub them together, slowly, deliberately. Notice the sensation. Cold skin warming through friction. A tiny fire of your own making. Somewhere, embers pop. That sound matters. You turn your head slightly, eyes half open now, and locate the fire pit by memory more than sight. A shallow circle of stones holds the heart of last night's warmth. The fire isn't dead, it's sleeping. Red veins pulse faintly beneath ash, like a breathing thing. This is how you tell time, not by clocks, but by coals, by how much heat remains, by whether the morning will begin gently or urgently. You inhale again, deeper this time, and the air scratches just a little at the back of your throat. Smoke has its own texture. It's not unpleasant, it's protective. Smoke keeps insects away. Smoke preserves meat. Smoke marks home. Your lungs know this smell. They've grown up with it. You roll onto your side, slowly, carefully, so as not to wake anyone else too soon. Mornings are communal, but they don't start all at once. There's a rhythm. Someone always wakes first. Today, apparently, it's you. Your elbow presses into the ground, and you feel the cold immediately through the layers. Stone does not care about you. That's an important lesson you learn early. The world isn't hostile. Exactly, but it isn't accommodating either. You adjust your weight, tucking your arm back into warmth. Good. Small decisions like this keep you alive. You listen. Wind slides past the cave entrance, low and steady. Somewhere farther away, a bird calls short, sharp, alert. That's useful information. Birds are early risers. If they're calm, danger is unlikely. If they're frantic, something is wrong. You store this away without thinking about it. Awareness here is automatic. You become aware of your body now in a way modern mornings rarely allow. Your muscles feel dense, compact. No gym soreness, just the dull readiness of a body that expects to work. Your feet flex under the hides. Your toes curl, testing sensation. You imagine standing soon on bare stone, cold, shocking you fully awake. Not yet. There's no rush. You reach out and brush your fingers against the ground near your head. The stone is cool, slightly damp. You notice how grounding it feels solid, undeniable. Take a slow breath with me, in through your nose, hold it just a moment, and out, slowly, like smoke thinning into the air. This is the beginning of the day. Not productivity, not achievement, awareness. You glance again toward the fire, toward the entrance, toward the shapes of others sleeping nearby bundles of fur and breath. Morning rituals will come stretching, layering, tending embers, sipping water warmed with herbs, checking tools. But for now, this quiet moment belongs to you. And as you lie there, wrapped in fur, listening to wind and embers and breath, you understand something simple and profound. Every morning, even now, begins the same way it did back then. With waking, with noticing, with choosing, gently, to stay alive. You take your first real breath of the day, not the shallow, instinctive kind you've been doing while half asleep, but a deliberate one. You draw air slowly through your nose, and immediately, you notice how different it feels from the air you're used to. It's heavier, cooler. It carries weight and texture. It smells alive. There's smoke. Yes, soft now, aged overnight, but also damp stone, cold earth, and something faintly animal. Not unpleasant. Honest. The kind of smell that tells you exactly where you are without needing light. You taste it slightly on your tongue, mineral and dry, and as you exhale, your breath fogs just barely in the cool air. You pause there, breathing, because breathing itself is information. The cave exhales with you. A slow draft slips past your cheek, moving inward toward the back wall. That tells you the outside air is colder than the inside. Good to know. Microclimate confirmed. Somewhere, water drips slow, patient, echoing faintly. Drip. Pause. Drip. It's almost meditative, like the cave has its own heartbeat. You shift your shoulders under the fur and notice how the smell changes as you move. The hide closest to your face carries a deeper scent animal fat. Smoke. Time. This fur has stories. It's been dried, scraped, smoked, and softened by hands that knew exactly how much effort was worth spending. Too much scraping, and the hide weakens. Too little, and it stiffens. Balance matters here. Everything is a compromise between comfort and survival. You inhale again, slower this time. Try it with me, in and out. You realize something gently amusing your breathing like this because you want to. No one taught you breath work. No one said it reduces stress. But your body knows that a slow breath warms air before it reaches your lungs. That warmth matters in the cold, ancient biology doing quiet math. Your chest rises and falls beneath layers of fur, linen, maybe a rough woven wool tucked somewhere in there. Linen against skin feels cool but smooth. Wool traps warmth but scratches just enough to remind you you're awake. Every material has a job. Nothing is decorative. Even comfort has utility. You turn your head slightly toward the fire pit again. The smell shifts immediately, stronger smoke. Faint ash. The ghost of roasted meat from last night. Your stomach responds with a subtle tightening. Hunger is patient here. It doesn't scream yet. It waits. You notice how quiet it is. Not silent. Never silent. But quiet in a way that feels deliberate. The kind of quiet where every sound stands out clearly. A soft exhale from someone sleeping nearby. The rustle of straw as an animal resettles. The faint scrape of claws on stone. You catalog these sounds without effort. This is your morning news. You imagine reaching out. Go on. Imagine it and placing your palm flat against the cave wall beside you. The stone is cold, almost damp, and it steals a bit of heat instantly. You pull your hand back under the fur again. Lesson learned. Stone is honest. It gives nothing it doesn't have to. Your nose picks up something new now as you breathe again. Herbs. Someone crushed them last night. Maybe with a stone. Maybe with fingers already smelling of smoke. Mint. Rosemary. Possibly sage. Not for flavor, these weren't sprinkled delicately. They were thrown into the fire, tossed onto bedding, rubbed into hides. Herbs mask scent. They repel insects. They calm minds that live under constant alert. You realize something else as you lie there breathing. Morning doesn't start when you stand up. Morning starts when your senses come online. Your ears adjust first. You hear beyond the cave now, not just within it. Wind outside shifts direction slightly, brushing past the entrance in a new pattern. That means weather. Maybe clouds moving, maybe frost lifting. You don't name it. You feel it. You breathe again. Deeper. The air scratches your throat just a little more this time. Dry smoke residue. You cough softly controlled. Quiet. A cough here isn't rude. It's risky. Sound travels. You instinctively cover your mouth with fur. muffling it. Your body does this without instruction. Generations of quiet mornings live inside your reflexes. You settle again. Notice how your breathing slows naturally now. No effort, no counting, just rhythm. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. The pause matters. Holding air briefly lets it warm. It lets your lungs extract what they need. Efficiency isn't a concept here, it's a habit. Your ribs expand against the layers, and you become aware of your own heartbeat. Steady, unhurried. You survived the night. That's the first success of the day. You glance toward the cave entrance again. The darkness there is thinning. Not light exactly, more like absence of total black. A soft blue-gray presses against the stone edges. Dawn is thinking about arriving. Your nose picks up the faint smell of outside now cold grass, wet earth, something green and sharp. Morning has a smell before it has a color. You've learned that. When the air starts to smell less like smoke and more like soil, the day is close. You shift your jaw slightly, unclenching without realizing it had been tense. Sleep here is never fully relaxed. Some part of you stays awake all night. That part is finally willing to stand down. You inhale again, and this time, you feel your belly rise more than your chest. Good. That's how you breathe when you're safe enough. When your body isn't bracing, you notice a small, almost funny detail. Your breath sounds loud to you, but probably isn't. In the quiet, everything feels amplified. You smile faintly to yourself. Humor exists here too. Subtle, dry, usually internal, somewhere nearby. Someone shifts in their sleep and exhales sharply. You recognize the sound. Familiar breathing patterns matter. You know who's there without looking. Community is audible. You breathe again, slower still. Try this. Imagine the air entering your nose, cooling, then warming as it moves inward. Imagine it brushing the inside of your chest, settling, then leaving again, taking tension with it. You don't call it relaxation. You call it readiness. Your senses are fully awake now. Your mind follows, quietly. No rush of thoughts, no checklist, just awareness spreading outward from your breath to the cave, to the world beyond. This is how caveman mornings begin. Not with action, but with listening to air, with learning the day's mood from smell and sound, with breathing not as a background process, but as the first ritual. And as you lie there, breathing smoke-tinged, herb-softened air, wrapped in fur and shadow, you understand something deeply comforting. Before language, before calendars, before history, humans began the day exactly like this. By breathing, you finally decide it's time to move. Not because the day demands it, but because the fire does. You shift your weight carefully, slow enough that the straw barely whispers beneath you, and you sit up just enough to see the fire pit clearly. The embers glow like tired stars, scattered beneath a soft blanket of ash. Red lines pulse faintly when you look closely, as if the fire is breathing in its sleep. This is the heart of the cave. If it dies completely, the morning becomes much harder. You scoot closer on your knees, keeping the fur wrapped around your shoulders. The stone beneath you is cold, even through the layers. and you feel it immediately, a sharp reminder that warmth is never guaranteed. You hold your hands out toward the pit, palms open, fingers spread slightly. Not too close. Not yet. Notice the heat. It's uneven, gentle on one side, fading on the other. Heat here isn't a blanket, it's a conversation. You adjust your hands inch by inch until warmth pools across your palms, sinking into skin that stiffened overnight. The sensation is slow, delicious, almost luxurious. You didn't realize how cold your fingers were until they weren't. You rub your hands together once, softly, and tiny flakes of ash drift upward, catching faint light. Ash smells dry and clean, like something finished. You brush a little off the edge of the pit with a stick, revealing brighter embers beneath. They respond immediately, glowing stronger, as if encouraged by attention. This is how you read the fire. You don't poke randomly. You don't rush. You look for color. Deep red means life. Gray means rest. Black means gone. Someone taught you this without words, just by moving your hand over yours once, years ago. You lean in slightly, and your face warms. The contrast is striking cold air behind you, warmth in front. This is why people gather around fires. It's not just heat, it's orientation, front and back, safe and exposed. You notice a flat stone nearby, darkened from years of use. Someone placed it close to the fire last night on purpose. You reach for it carefully, testing with your fingertips first. Warm, not hot, perfect. You drag it closer and sit on it, feeling heat rise through your body from below, warming benches before benches existed. Your shoulders relax almost immediately. You take another breath, and the smoke smells different up close, richer, heavier, layered with memory. Burned wood, fat drippings, herbs. Everything eaten and used here leaves a trace. Fire remembers. You glance around the pit and notice the arrangement of stones. Not random, never random. Gaps allow airflow. Larger stones retain heat longer. Smaller ones can be moved easily. Someone optimized this over many mornings, many winters. Trial and error etched into habit. You pick up a thin stick and gently scrape ash aside in one small spot. The embers flare brighter in response, and a thin thread of smoke curls upward. You pause, watching it. Smoke tells you how the air moves. It leans slightly toward the entrance. Good. The cave will clear naturally once the fire wakes. You resist the urge to add fuel immediately. Too much fire too early wastes resources. Wood matters. Effort matters. You wait. Behind you, you hear another sound, soft, deliberate movement. Someone else is awake now. You don't turn. No need. Morning doesn't require acknowledgement yet. Presence is enough. You warm your hands again, turning them slowly, front and back, fingers, wrists. Heat loosens joints stiff from sleep. You flex each finger one at a time, noticing how sensation returns gradually, like memory coming back online. Try it with me. Imagine warming your hands slowly, not rushing. Let the warmth sink in. You notice how quiet your movements are. Fire demands respect. Loud movements scatter ash, choke embers, draw attention. You move the way you breathe, efficient, calm, intentional. Your stomach tightens again, just a little stronger this time. The smell of the fire brings back last night's meal. Roasted meat, roots softened in ash, fat dripping onto coals. You swallow slowly. Food will come later. Fire comes first. You glance toward the back of the cave and spot a small bundle near the wall kindling set aside, dry and protected. Someone planned ahead. You reach for one thin piece and hold it near the embers, not placing it yet. Testing. The wood warms, releasing a faint, sweet scent. Dry enough. You place it gently on the brightest ember and wait. Nothing happens immediately. This is normal. You breathe. Then, slowly, a tiny flame appears, hesitant, blue at first, then yellow. It licks upward, tasting air, and then retreats again. You don't panic. You adjust the angle slightly, creating space beneath. Air feeds fire. Fire teaches patience. Another flame, stronger this time. You smile faintly, success measured in inches. You add one more thin stick, then stop. Enough. Too much too soon suffocates it. The fire crackles softly now, awake but calm. The sound is comforting, rhythmic. Pop, settle, pop. Like punctuation in the morning silence. You notice how the cave changes as the fire wakes. Shadows sharpen. Shapes become clearer. The walls glow faintly, reflecting warmth. Smoke rises in a steady ribbon toward the ceiling and drifts out. The cave breathes with you again. You warm your face now, closing your eyes briefly. Heat relaxes muscles you didn't realize were tense: jaw, neck, brow. Your eyelids feel heavy, not with sleep, but with comfort. This is a good moment, a rare one. Someone moves closer beside you and sits near the fire as well. You feel their presence through shared warmth. No words, none needed. Morning companionship is quiet. You pass them the stick without looking. They add another piece of wood, slightly thicker, building on your work. The flame grows steadier, brighter. Teamwork without discussion. Fire has rules everyone understands. You lean back slightly on the warm stone and let your hands rest on your thighs. Heat seeps upward, pooling in your core. This is where warmth matters most. Extremities can wait. Organs cannot. You think very lightly about how fire organizes the day. Morning fire warms. Midday fire cooks. Evening fire protects. Night fire comforts. Lose the fire, and time collapses into urgency. You look again at the embers beneath the flames. They glow brighter now, fed and alive. You've extended yesterday into today. Continuity achieved. You inhale deeply, and the smoke doesn't bother you. Your lungs know it. They've adapted. Fire smoke here is thin, filtered by stone and distance. Enough to preserve. Not enough to choke. You notice your posture has changed. You sit taller now, warmer, more present. Fire does that. It pulls people upright. It gathers attention. You flex your toes inside the furs, feeling warmth beginning to reach even there. Not yet complete, but coming. Mornings are built in stages. The fire crackles again, a little louder this time. Confident. Someone else stirs fully now. The day is assembling itself around this small circle of heat. You glance once more at the glowing stones and feel a quiet satisfaction. The fire's heart is awake. So are you. And with warmth restored, the morning can finally continue. With the fire awake, your body follows. You stay seated near the warmth for a moment longer, letting heat finish what sleep started. Your muscles soften, then wake, like animals stretching inside you. You don't stand up suddenly. Sudden movements waste warmth. They invite dizziness. You've learned that mornings reward patience. You begin with your hands. You hold them out in front of you, palms facing the fire, then slowly turn them over, feeling heat soak into both sides. Your fingers curl and uncurl, one by one. Each joint clicks faintly, not in pain, just in acknowledgement. These hands know work. They remember weight, resistance, texture. You roll your wrists gently, first one direction, then the other. Notice how the movement sends warmth up your forearms, loosening tendons that stiffened overnight. This isn't exercise. It's maintenance. You shift your shoulders next, lifting them toward your ears and letting them drop again. Once, twice. The fur slips slightly, brushing your neck. You adjust it back into place, tucking it tighter. Layering is constant. Nothing stays perfect for long. You tilt your head side to side, slow enough that you can feel each vertebra respond. Your neck has been holding your head alert even in sleep. It deserves attention. You pause when something feels tight. Breathe, and let it soften on its own. Someone across the fire mirrors your movements unconsciously. Morning stretches spread like yawns. No one leads. The body cues itself. You lean forward slightly and place your hands on your knees, feeling warmth rise from the stone beneath you. You push gently, straightening your spine, then release. Your back answers with a deep, satisfying stretch. You imagine a cat waking in the sun. That's the energy. You draw one knee up toward your chest, hugging it briefly. The motion presses your thigh against your ribs, warming your core further. You switch sides. Balance matters, even in stretching. You notice how grounded you feel, feet planted, weight distributed evenly. You're aware of where your body ends and the cave begins. That awareness keeps you safe. You stand slowly now. The moment your feet meet the stone floor fully, cold shoots upward, sharp and immediate. You hiss quietly through your teeth, then smile to yourself. There it is, the real wake-up. You shift your weight from foot to foot, letting blood rush back into your toes. The floor is uneven, textured. Small pebbles press into your soles. You feel everyone. Shoes dull awareness. Bare feet sharpen it. You flex your toes, gripping the ground lightly, like roots testing soil. The cold doesn't feel hostile now. It feels informative. You take one slow step forward, then another, circling the fire pit carefully. Movement creates heat. Your body knows this. You don't rush, but you don't linger either. A gentle pace warms muscles without stealing energy. You swing your arms loosely at your sides, letting momentum do the work. Your shoulders loosen further. Your breath deepens naturally. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Steam puffs faintly in the cool air. You stop near the cave wall and place your hands against it briefly. leaning forward. The stone is cold, but solid. You push away gently, engaging your chest and arms. Strength here isn't about lifting heavy things once. It's about doing small things constantly. You squat slowly, heels flat, knees open. This is a resting position here, not an exercise. Your hips sink comfortably. Your balance is effortless. You hold the squat for a few breaths, feeling joints align the way they were meant to. When you stand again, it's smooth, fluid, no strain, no noise. You notice how awake you feel now, not wired, just present. Stretching here isn't about flexibility for its own sake. It's injury prevention. Cold muscles tear easily. A pulled tendon can mean the difference between eating and not eating. You respect your body because your life depends on it. You reach up and stretch your arms overhead, fingers splayed, ribs expanding. Your fur falls back slightly, exposing your lower back to the cool air. You shiver and pull it down again, laughing silently at yourself. Even experienced bodies forget sometimes. Across the cave, someone cracks their knuckles. Another yawns, wide and unapologetic. Morning noises multiply now. The day is assembling piece by piece. You roll your ankles next, lifting one foot at a time, drawing slow circles in the air. Ankles matter. Uneven ground punishes careless steps. You take care of them like tools. You bend forward at the hips, letting your upper body hang for a moment. Blood rushes to your head gently. Your back lengthens. Your fingers brush the ground. Stone dust coats your skin. You straighten again slowly, vertebra by vertebra, stacking yourself upright. Your body feels ready now. You test it with a few steps toward the entrance. Light has grown stronger, pale and cool. The outside world is waiting, but not yet. You turn back toward the fire and kneel briefly, holding your hands close again. A final infusion of warmth before leaving the circle. Ritual matters. Endings matter too. You notice herbs set aside near the fire bundles tied with fiber. Someone crushes a leaf between their fingers nearby, releasing scent into the air. Mint sharpens your senses instantly. Rosemary grounds you. Smell is part of waking too. You rub your hands together and then over your arms, spreading warmth and scent. The touch is comforting, familiar. You belong to this body. It belongs to you. You take a moment to stretch your jaw, opening wide, then closing slowly. You massage your temples lightly. Sleep tension releases reluctantly, then gives in. Your breath is steady now, your posture relaxed but alert. You're neither rushed nor sluggish. This is the ideal state. You glance around the cave one more time, taking in the people, the fire, the tools resting where they belong. Everything is where it should be. Order here is subtle, but deliberate. You realize something quietly satisfying. Your morning routine hasn't been about waking up. It's been about preparing to move safely through the world. Stretching here is survival. It's respect for the body that carries you through cold, hunger, and uncertainty. And as you finish your last small stretch and roll your shoulders one final time, you feel ready, not just to stand, but to continue. The day has not asked anything of you yet, but you are ready to answer when it does. You reach for your layers next, not because fashion demands it, but because the cold does. The fire has warmed you. Yes, but warmth here is temporary unless you trap it. You've learned this the hard way, probably more than once. Heat earned must be kept. So you move toward the place where clothing and hides rest in loose, familiar piles, each piece folded or draped in a way that makes sense to hands that know them well. You pick up the first layer linen. It's thinner than you expect, light and pale, woven loosely but evenly. When you pull it over your head, it slides against your skin with a cool, dry whisper. Linen feels honest. It doesn't pretend to be warm. Instead, it manages moisture, pulling dampness away from your body so cold doesn't cling later. You smooth it down with your palms, tucking it where it belongs. Simple, effective. Next comes wool. Thicker, heavier, slightly rough. You slip it on carefully, adjusting the opening at your neck so it doesn't rub too sharply against your skin. Wool smells faintly of animal and smoke, and as it settles around you, you feel warmth begin to collect, not dramatic, just steady. Wool traps air, air traps heat. Someone figured that out long before words like insulation existed. You notice how the layers already change your posture. You stand differently when dressed for survival. More compact, more contained. Nothing flaps or dangles unnecessarily. Every loose edge is an invitation for cold or trouble. You reach for fur next. This one is heavier, thicker, lined with dense softness on the inside. You drape it over your shoulders like a cloak and immediately feel the difference. Warmth stays. Cold bounces away. The fur smells rich animal. Smoke. Herbs rubbed into it over time. It carries the memory of nights survived. You pull it tighter around your chest and secure it with a simple pin or knot. No buttons, no zippers, just physics and habit. You test the hold with a small tug. Secure enough. Easy to remove if needed. Layering here isn't about piling everything on at once. It's about adaptability. You'll add and remove throughout the day, responding to wind, movement, sun. You dress like the world can change suddenly, because it can. You crouch briefly to wrap something around your legs. Woolen bindings. Maybe strips of hide. Tied just tight enough to stay put, but loose enough to allow movement. Cold loves knees and ankles. You don't give it the chance. You glance at your feet, still bare. Footwear exists, but mornings often begin without it. You'll add it when you leave the cave fully. For now, bare feet help you feel temperature shifts, ground texture, awareness again, always awareness. You adjust the fur one more time, tucking it closer at the neck. Heat escapes upward first. You've learned to protect that. You even lift the fur briefly to let a little smoke drift underneath, letting the scent settle in. Smoke-treated fur lasts longer, smells less like fresh animal, attracts fewer insects. Small details, big impact. Someone nearby adds a hood, pulling it up and then pushing it back again. Testing. You do the same. Hood up too warm near the fire. Hood down just right. You leave it loose. Ready. You notice how quiet the cave has become again. But this time it's a productive quiet. People are awake now, moving with purpose. Soft footsteps, the scrape of leather, the faint rustle of fibers. The morning soundtrack has changed. You sit briefly on the warm stone again to finish dressing. Sitting keeps warmth in your core while you work. You take advantage of that. You notice a small bundle of dried grass nearby used as extra insulation if the day turns colder. You tuck it into your pack or belt area without thinking. Preparedness isn't anxiety here. It's normal. You reach for a final piece, a strip of fur or cloth worn around the neck. Not decorative. It blocks drafts. It catches sweat. It doubles as a bandage if needed. Multifunctional is the rule. You wrap it carefully and adjust until it sits just right. Comfortable, but not loose. You tilt your head side to side. Good. Full range of motion. You stand again and immediately feel the difference. Your body holds heat now. The cold stone beneath your feet still bites, but it doesn't climb as quickly. You're armored not against enemies, but against the environment. You take a slow walk around the fire pit, testing your mobility. No pulling, no slipping. The layers move with you. That's important. Clothing that restricts is dangerous. You'll need to bend, reach, run, crouch. You prepare for all of it at once. You pause near the entrance and let a draft hit you fully for the first time. Cold air slides across your face, your hands, your legs. You wait, feeling for weaknesses. Does cold sneak in at the waist, at the shoulders? You adjust accordingly, tightening here, loosening there, fine-tuning. You imagine doing this dozens of times a year, hundreds, each time learning something new about how heat behaves, how wind behaves, how your body behaves. You realize something quietly impressive. This is climate science, learned without charts. You step back toward the fire briefly and warm your hands again. Layering is only half the equation. Heat input still matters. You press your palms together, then tuck them under the fur at your chest for a moment, trapping warmth close to your heart. You notice animals nearby shifting as well. A dog shakes out its fur, sending dust into the air. Its coat is its layer. It looks at you briefly, eyes alert, then settles again. Shared mornings, shared warmth. Someone tosses another herb onto the fire, lavender this time. The scent softens the space instantly, not because lavender is magical, but because humans respond to it. Calmer minds make better decisions. Someone noticed that long ago. You breathe it in slowly. You feel ready now, not just warm, but protected. You've created a microclimate around yourself, a portable cave, heat trapped between linen, wool, and fur, carried wherever you go. You test your arms again, lifting, stretching. The layers move easily. Good. You roll your shoulders once more, then let them settle. You glance down at yourself and feel a small, practical satisfaction. You've dressed successfully. No mirrors needed, no trends considered. Just experience, observation, and care. You realize that in a world without central heating, clothing isn't an afterthought. It's architecture. You're building shelter directly on your body. And as you finish adjusting the last fold of fur and step fully into your layered warmth, you feel something deeply grounding. You are not fighting the cold. You are cooperating with it, adapting, layer by layer. You notice the animals before you fully acknowledge them. Not because they're loud, quite the opposite, but because the space around you subtly changes as they wake. The air feels warmer in patches. The cave smells more alive. A low huff of breath drifts past your calf, followed by the soft shuffle of paws on stone. A dog, something close to one, anyway, lifts its head and looks at you with sleepy intelligence. Its eyes catch the firelight briefly, reflecting amber, then blink slowly. You feel recognized, not owned, not worshipped, just known. You crouch instinctively and extend the back of your hand. The animal leans forward, nose brushing your knuckles, warm, damp, curious. Its breath fogs faintly against your skin. You scratch behind its ear, fingers sinking into thick fur still warm from shared sleep. The dog leans into the touch without hesitation, trusting you completely. This trust wasn't given all at once. It was built, morning after morning, night after night, through shared warmth, shared danger, shared silence. You notice other animals stirring nearby, too. A goat shifts, hooves clicking softly against stone. It snorts once, unimpressed by the hour, then settles again. Livestock here isn't kept separate. Warm bodies mean warmth for everyone. This isn't sentimentality, it's thermodynamics. You step carefully between them, aware of where each body rests. You've memorized this layout without realizing it, where tails swish, where horns angle, where not to step barefoot unless you enjoy sudden, educational pain. The dog rises now, stretches extravagantly, front paws extended, back arched high. You mirror the stretch unconsciously, smiling. Morning rituals cross species boundaries easily. The animal shakes itself, sending a fine cloud of dust and fur into the air. You wrinkle your nose and laugh silently. Dust sparkles briefly in the firelight, then settles. Everything here sheds. Everything here leaves traces. You notice how animals greet the morning differently. No anxiety, no anticipation, just readiness. They check the space, check each other, check you. Then they wait. You crouch near the dog again and run your hand along its side. Its ribs rise and fall steadily, healthy, warm, fed recently enough. Good. Animals are early warning systems. A restless animal means trouble. Calm animals mean safety, at least for now. You hear a faint thump as another animal bumps against the cave wall, adjusting position. Someone murmurs softly, not words, just sound, reassurance. Animals understand tone better than language anyway. You inhale again and notice how much warmer the air feels near them. Body heat radiates outward, creating pockets of comfort. You stand a little closer, not crowding, just sharing space. Humans learned quickly that animals aren't just food or labor. They're insulation. You imagine curling up again beside the dog, just for a moment, letting warmth seep in from another living thing. It's tempting, but morning moves forward. The dog nudges your leg lightly, tail swaying. It wants something. Attention direction, inclusion. You scratch its chest briefly, then stand. It follows immediately. Alert now. You realize how different this relationship is from modern pet ownership. This isn't companionship for loneliness. This is partnership. The dog watches what you watch, listens when you listen. It will run when you run. You glance toward the cave entrance again. Light has strengthened. The animals notice it too. Heads turn in unison. Ears angle. Morning is officially happening. You check the animals quickly, efficiently. Are they moving normally? Any limping? Any unusual stillness? You don't linger, but you don't rush either. Early detection matters. A sick animal affects everyone. You reach down and scoop up a handful of dried grass, tossing it gently toward the goat. It chews lazily, uninterested but appreciative. Food distribution starts early, even in small ways. The dog sits now, watching you intently, waiting. You nod once. That's enough. It settles beside you, content. You feel a surprising sense of calm from this interaction. Animals anchor you in the present. They don't worry about yesterday or speculate about tomorrow. They respond to now. That steadiness rubs off on you. You notice how the cave sounds have changed again. More breathing. More shifting. Quiet snorts. The gentle click of hooves. It's like the space itself is stretching awake. You brush loose fur off your leggings, smoothing it down. Everything here is shared space. Air, warmth, hair. Cleanliness is relative. Function matters more. You think briefly about how animals help regulate the cave's microclimate. Their heat raises the ambient temperature just enough. Their movement stirs air. Their scent marks familiarity. Predators are less likely to approach a cave that smells crowded. You rest your hand briefly on the dog's back again. Solid, alive, reliable. There's something grounding about starting the day with another heartbeat nearby. You straighten and take one last look at the animals settled behind you. They're awake now, but relaxed. That's the goal. A calm morning sets the tone for everything that follows. You step toward the fire once more, feeling the dog's presence at your side, and you realize something quietly profound. This morning routine isn't just about you. It never has been. It's about a small ecosystem waking together. Humans, animals, fire, stone, each aware of the others, each contributing warmth, awareness, and safety. And as you move forward into the day, you carry that shared readiness with you for brushing your legs, breath syncing with another living being, the cave behind you still humming softly with life. You stop moving before you realize you've stopped, not because something is wrong, but because something might be. Listening comes next. You stand near the cave entrance now, just inside the boundary where warmth still clings to stone, but outside air begins to assert itself. The light has shifted again, brighter, but still soft, a pale wash of early morning blue. You don't step forward yet. You listen first. You tilt your head slightly, angling one ear toward the outside world. Your body does this automatically. Hearing isn't symmetrical, it's directional. You've learned to trust that. The wind speaks first. It slides past the cave mouth in a low, steady rush, brushing the stone edges and curling inward just enough to stir loose ash near your feet. The sound tells you its speed, its mood. This wind isn't sharp. It's not angry. It's consistent. That means no sudden storm, at least not yet. You breathe in slowly and notice how the wind carries scent with it. Damp grass, cold soil, something green. No sharp metallic tang. No heavy musk of predators. Just morning. You hold your breath briefly, not in fear, but in focus. Silence, when you listen closely, is layered. You hear birds next, a few calls, spaced apart, not frantic. One short trill, another longer note. Birds are honest reporters. Calm calls mean normalcy. Alarm calls come fast and loud. This is neither. You relax a fraction. Behind you, the dog's ears prick up. It shifts its weight slightly but doesn't growl. That matters. You glance down briefly and catch its eye. It looks back at you, alert but calm. Shared assessment complete. You listen again. Somewhere far off, you hear movement branches rubbing together. Could be wind, could be something else. You wait. The sound repeats, irregular but gentle. Wind again. Good. You step 1 foot closer to the entrance, careful where you place it. Cold stone presses up through the sole, reminding you exactly where you are. You pause there, half in, half out of the cave's protection. This threshold is important. You listen for rhythm now. Nature has rhythms. Footsteps have patterns. 4-legged animals move differently than 2-legged ones. Predators move differently than prey. You've learned this without ever naming it. Nothing out there sounds purposeful yet. You notice the absence of certain sounds, too. No sudden hush in birds. No frantic wing beats. No silence where there should be noise. Absence can be louder than presence. Your breath stays slow. You don't pant. You don't sniff loudly. Even breathing can give you away. You breathe through your nose, quietly, warming the air before it enters your lungs. You crouch slightly, lowering your center of gravity. It brings your ears closer to the ground, changes how sound reaches you. You place your fingertips briefly against the stone beside the entrance. The vibration is faint, but you feel nothing unusual. No heavy footsteps nearby. You glance at the sky through the opening, just enough to read it. Clouds are thin and stretched, moving steadily. That matches the wind you heard. Consistency is comforting. You listen again. Eyes half closed now. Closing your eyes sharpens hearing. Try it with me. Imagine the world narrowing to sound alone. Wind, birds, distant water, your own breath. You hear water now faint, far away, a stream or runoff from melting frost. Flowing water means animals will visit eventually, but not all at once. It also means noise that can mask other sounds. You store that information. Behind you, someone shifts, stepping quietly closer. They don't speak. They don't need to. You're both listening to the same thing. Collective vigilance. You raise one hand slightly. Palm open, not a signal of danger. Just a pause. The movement is subtle. It says, "Not yet." They stop. The dog sits again, muscles coiled but relaxed. It watches the tree line beyond the cave. Head tilted. Its tail is still. That's good. A wagging tail means distraction. Stillness means focus. You become aware of how much time you're giving this moment. Minutes. Maybe? But it feels longer. Listening stretches time. You don't rush it. Rushing creates blind spots. You pick up a small stone near your foot and roll it between your fingers absently. The texture grounds you, smooth on one side, sharp on the other. This stone has been handled many times. It fits your hand perfectly, like it's waiting. You listen for human sounds now. Voices, laughter, tool clatter. Nothing. That could mean solitude. It could also mean others are listening too. You stay neutral. You notice how your body has adjusted without instruction. Shoulders relaxed but ready. knees slightly bent, weight balanced. This posture isn't taught, it's remembered. You hear something new now? A low, distant sound, too soft to identify immediately. You freeze not dramatically, just completely. Every muscle stills. Even your breath pauses. The sound comes again, slightly louder, a long exhale, then another. You focus. That's breath. Large, slow, not human, possibly deer, possibly something else. You wait for footfalls. They don't come. The breathing drifts sideways, moving away. The dog exhales quietly, tension releasing. You straighten slowly, careful not to spook anything that might still be nearby. You don't need to see the animal to know it's leaving. Sound tells you that. You glance at the person beside you. They nod once. That's enough. Information shared. You take a final sweep of sound, starting close and moving outward in your awareness. Cave, entrance, clearing, trees, distant hills, all clear, for now. You let your shoulders drop fully. The moment of listening ends, gently, without ceremony. Danger avoided not by force, but by attention. You realize something quietly powerful. This is security. Not walls, not weapons, not locks. Listening. You step fully out of the cave now, feeling the cold bite more sharply. The world greets you honestly. You accept it. Behind you, the fire crackles softly. Animals shift. People move again. Morning resumes. But you carry the listening with you. It will return again and again throughout the day, before a hunt, before a river crossing, before sleep. Listening is the oldest survival skill. And as you take your first true step into the morning air, you do so knowing something deeply reassuring. You didn't survive because you were strong. You survived because you paid attention. You step forward slowly, fully committing your weight to the ground outside the cave. The cold stone meets your bare feet immediately, firm and unyielding, and you feel it travel upward through your soles, ankles, calves. It's sharp at first, almost startling, like a truth delivered without cushioning. You pause instinctively, letting the sensation settle rather than fighting it. Cold teaches fast. You spread your toes slightly, adjusting your balance. The surface beneath you isn't flat. It never is. Small ridges, tiny pebbles, grooves carved by water and time press into your skin. Each one sends information upward. You know exactly where you're standing now. No slipping, no guessing. You take another step. This one lands on packed earth instead of stone. The difference is immediate. Softer, gritty, slightly damp. The ground holds the chill differently here, absorbing rather than reflecting it. You notice how your feet respond, muscles tightening just enough to stay stable, arches lifting slightly. Walking barefoot keeps you honest. Every step matters. You move slowly, deliberately, letting warmth generated by motion counter the cold creeping upward. Movement is heat. Stillness is surrender. You've learned the balance. You glance down at your feet briefly, watching how they place themselves without instruction. Heel first, then the outer edge, then the ball, toes last. This isn't a technique you were taught, it's one your body remembers. Efficient, quiet, safe. You listen to the sound your steps make. Almost none. Bare feet don't announce themselves the way hard soles do. They whisper against the earth, leaving only shallow impressions. You imagine how many footprints like yours overlap here, layered across years. Paths aren't always visible. Sometimes they're felt. You pause again, lifting one foot slightly and brushing dirt away with your hand. The soil smells rich and cold, alive with decay and renewal. You rub your hands together afterward, feeling grit between your palms. Texture anchors you. The dog steps past you. Paws, landing confidently, unfazed by the cold. Its pads are thick, adapted. You watch how it moves, where it avoids stepping. Animals are excellent teachers if you're paying attention. You follow its path instinctively, stepping where it steps. The ground feels marginally warmer there, disturbed, exposed briefly to air. Small advantages add up. You shift your weight again and notice how the cold has changed. It's still there, but it no longer shocks. Your blood has caught up. Circulation responds quickly when invited. You flex your toes again, gripping the earth lightly, then releasing. Micro movements keep warmth moving. You don't stand stiffly. Stiffness is dangerous. You reach down and scoop up a flat stone near your foot, turning it over in your hands. One side is colder than the other. You smile faintly. The stone remembers last night's warmth. Memory exists everywhere here, if you know how to read it. You set the stone aside and step onto it briefly. Warmer, not by much, but enough. You file that away. Standing on stones warmed by the sun later will matter. You move farther from the cave now, light fully touching your shoulders. The air feels sharper out here, cleaner. You inhale deeply and feel it fill your lungs, cool but invigorating. Your breath feels visible, even if you can't quite see it. You roll your shoulders once, letting your fur settle. Your feet continue to adjust automatically, finding purchase, testing each step. You're not thinking about where you're going yet. You're thinking about how you're moving. You stop near a patch of grass and kneel, pressing your palm flat against the ground. It's cold, damp, but not frozen. Frost melted early. That tells you the night wasn't too harsh. That tells you roots will be accessible later. Information gathered. You stand again and brush dirt from your hand onto your leggings. Clean enough. You notice how the ground slopes slightly away from the cave. Water runoff will follow this path. You imagine rain pooling here, mud forming. You adjust your route slightly, stepping where the earth feels firmer. Experience layered onto sensation. You hear a faint crunch underfoot, now dry leaves or twigs. You freeze immediately, weight suspended mid-step. The sound echoes louder in your head than it did in the air. You wait. Nothing responds. No sudden flight, no alarm call, no movement answering movement. You lower your foot carefully and adjust, stepping more lightly. Quiet matters. You remind yourself without words that the ground is always talking. You just have to listen with your feet. You walk a small circle, warming yourself fully now, letting your muscles settle into rhythm. Your steps become smoother, more confident. Heat builds naturally, spreading upward from your legs into your core. You stop again and look down at your feet, now lightly dusted with soil. They look sturdy, capable, not pampered. You feel a strange gratitude for them. They've carried you through worse than cold mornings. You reach for your footwear, now simple wraps of hide, loosely shaped, flexible. You don't rush to put them on. Bare feet first. Always. They wake you fully. You slip the hide over one foot and secure it with a simple tie. You test it by shifting weight. Too tight restricts blood flow. Too loose slips. You adjust until it feels like an extension of you, not a barrier. You repeat the process with the other foot, taking your time. Footwear here isn't meant to erase sensation. It's meant to soften extremes. You stand and take a few steps, listening to the new sound. Still quiet? Good. You notice how the world feels different now, slightly muted through the soles, but still readable. You haven't disconnected. You've adapted. You walk back toward the cave briefly, warmth from the fire brushing against you one last time. The contrast between inside and outside feels less dramatic now. Your body has bridged the gap. You realize something subtle and important. This moment feet meeting ground is where you fully enter the day. Not when you wake, not when you dress, but when you feel where you stand. Modern mornings rarely offer this clarity. Floors are flat, temperatures controlled, sensation filtered. Here, every step is a conversation with the earth. And as you take one more measured step forward, grounded, warm enough, alert enough, you feel steady in a way that doesn't rely on comfort. It relies on connection. You are awake now, fully. Your throat reminds you before your stomach does. A dry tightness lingers there, subtle but persistent, a quiet signal carried over from the night. Sleep takes water. Warm fire takes water. Breathing smoke takes water. You swallow once and feel the dryness respond slowly, like earth waiting for rain. Hydration comes next, not as a rushed gulp, not as a task, but as a ritual. You move toward a small container set near the fire-hollowed wood, stone, maybe a thick piece of bark sealed with resin. It rests where the warmth keeps liquid from biting cold. Someone placed it there on purpose. You appreciate that without saying so. You kneel and lift it carefully. Water has weight. You feel it shift slightly inside as you move. The container is cool but not freezing, and when you bring it closer, steam barely whispers upward, warmed, not boiled. Perfect. You pause before drinking. That pause matters. You inhale slowly through your nose, and the steam carries scent with it. Faint herbs steeped overnight. Mint, maybe, or a touch of yarrow, something mild, something intentional. Herbs here aren't flavor first. They're function first. Digestion, alertness, calm. You take your first sip. It's small, always small at first. The warmth spreads immediately, gentle and steady, sliding down your throat and settling in your chest. You feel it move, not dramatically, but undeniably. Your shoulders drop just a little. Your jaw unclenches without permission. You swallow again, slower. Water here isn't shocking. It doesn't punish your system. Cold water tightens. Warm water invites. Someone learned that through trial, discomfort, and eventual wisdom. You hold the container with both hands now, letting its warmth soak into your palms. Heat transfer goes both ways. You sip again, a little more this time, and feel your stomach respond, accepting, ready. You notice how quiet you've become while drinking. Conversation pauses naturally around water. Drinking is vulnerable. You lower your guard to let something in. Everyone understands that. You take another sip and notice the taste more clearly now. Clean. Mineral. Slightly smoky from the container. Herbs round the edges. No sweetness. No bitterness. Just balance. You breathe out slowly through your nose and feel the warmth echo through your body. Hydration here isn't just physical, it's grounding. It tells your system the night is over. The day has begun. You pass the container to someone beside you without looking. They take it and drink the same way you did, small sip. Pause. Breath. Mirrored habits feel reassuring. While you wait, you rub your hands together lightly, spreading the last of the warmth. You feel your fingers more clearly now. Circulation fully awake. The earlier stiffness is gone. You receive the container back and take another sip. Then another. You stop before you feel full. Overdrinking early slows movement. You've learned that too. Balance again. You set the container back near the fire, returning it exactly where it was. Placement matters. Order saves time later. You lick your lips lightly, tasting herbs again, and notice how your mouth feels different now. Moist, comfortable, awake. Your stomach answers again, this time with a gentle pull rather than a complaint. Hunger is lining up behind hydration, waiting its turn. You glance outside briefly. Light has grown warmer. The blue has softened. Morning moves forward whether you rush or not. You reach for a small bundle nearby herbs laid out on a flat stone. Someone crushes a leaf between their fingers and drops it into a second container. This one set deeper into the coals. This will steep longer, stronger, saved for later. Energy management is deliberate. You take a moment to rinse your mouth with a small sip, swishing gently before swallowing. It cleans residue from sleep, smoke, dreams. Simple hygiene. Effective. You notice how this small act sharpens your senses. Smell becomes clearer, taste more defined. Hydration tunes perception. A dry body misses details. You wipe your mouth with the back of your hand, then on your leggings. No shame, just function. You stretch your neck once more and feel no resistance now. Everything moves more easily. Water lubricates joints as much as it quenches thirst. You think briefly about how water is gathered here. Streams memorized, rain collected, snow melted carefully. Water is never assumed. Every sip carries gratitude, even if unspoken. You look down at your hands, still lightly dusted with ash and dirt, and notice how clean they feel anyway. Clean enough. Clean where it counts. You breathe deeply again and realize your breath feels fuller now, less shallow. Hydration improves oxygen exchange. You don't know the words for it, but your body knows the effect. You listen again, just briefly. The world sounds sharper now. Birds clearer, wind more distinct. Water woke you in ways sleep never could. You stand slowly, energized but not hurried. This is the ideal state alert, warm, hydrated, grounded. You glance at the fire and notice how the container sits just close enough to stay warm without steaming too aggressively. Someone calibrated this perfectly. You store that knowledge without trying. You realize something quietly profound. In a world without coffee, without sugar, without stimulants stacked on stimulants. Water is the first medicine. Warmth is the second. Attention is the third. Everything else builds on that. You roll your shoulders once more, feeling ease instead of effort. You flex your fingers, ready. The day hasn't demanded anything from you yet, but you feel capable of responding now. Hydration has done its work quietly, efficiently. You take one last glance at the container, then at the path ahead, and step forward with confidence that doesn't come from caffeine or urgency. It comes from listening to your body, from giving it what it asked for, from respecting the order of things. And as you move on, the warmth of water still settling inside you, you carry a calm certainty into the morning. You are prepared. You linger near the fire a little longer, not because you need more warmth, but because the air itself is changing. Scent drifts through the cave now in slow, deliberate layers. Someone has begun tending herbs, and the difference is immediate. Smoke becomes softer, rounder. The sharp edge dulls. Your breathing deepens without effort. You notice it before you identify it. Mint first, cool and bright. Like morning itself, it cuts through lingering sleep, clears the back of your nose, sharpens the world just a notch. You inhale gently and feel your mind lift, not in a rush, but in a clean, focused way. Then rosemary follows, earthy, resinous, grounding. It settles into your chest, heavy and reassuring, like a hand placed flat against your sternum. Rosemary doesn't wake you up. It steadies you. You step closer to the fire pit and watch as someone sprinkles crushed leaves directly onto the embers. Not much. Never much. Herbs are valuable. Excess is waste. The leaves hiss softly as they touch heat, releasing scent immediately. A pale ribbon of smoke curls upward, distinct from the thicker wood smoke. It moves differently lighter, more playful, drifting toward the cave ceiling before dispersing. You tilt your head slightly and follow it with your eyes. Smoke is information. You notice how it flows around stone edges, how it thins near the entrance. That tells you airflow is good. No trapped fumes. No danger of choking. The cave breathes well today. You breathe again, slowly, letting the herb-scented air pass through you. It feels intentional, like part of waking rather than a byproduct of fire. You don't call it aromatherapy. You call it common sense. Herbs do things. Mint sharpens. Rosemary steadies. Sage cleans. Lavender soothes. Yarrow heals. You don't need to know the chemistry to know the effect. Observation has done the work already. You reach down and pick up a small bundle tied with fiber. The stems are dry but not brittle. You roll them gently between your fingers, releasing a faint scent even before they touch the fire. Your skin absorbs some of it immediately. Oils cling. You bring your fingers to your nose and inhale softly. The smell is familiar, comforting. You've smelled it during sickness, during grief, during long nights when sleep refused to come. Scents anchor memory more strongly than sound or sight. You add a pinch to the embers yourself. This time, the scent is lavender. The effect is subtle but immediate. The cave feels quieter, even though nothing has changed acoustically. Muscles loosen just a little. Breath slows. The sharpness of morning softens into something calmer. Lavender here isn't indulgence, it's emotional regulation. You glance around and notice how others respond without comment. Shoulders drop, movements become smoother. No one says anything. They don't need to. The scent speaks. You rub your hands together again, spreading herb oil across your skin, then brush them lightly over your arms and neck. Not perfume protection. Insects dislike certain smells. Humans like them. Another efficient compromise. You notice how the dog responds too, sneezing once, then settling again. Animals react to scent just as strongly. You watch its body language carefully. Calm, content, good. You take a moment to breathe with intention now, not forced, just aware. Inhale slowly through your nose. Let the scent reach deep. Exhale gently through your mouth. Imagine tension leaving with the breath, thinning like smoke. You feel present in a way that doesn't demand effort. Someone near you takes a glowing coal with a stick and places it into a small hollowed stone, adding herbs on top. This portable ember will be carried outside later, used to smoke hides, signal presence, or rekindle fire elsewhere. Scent travels with purpose. You watch the process, fascinated. Fire, herb, stone. Simple elements combined into something powerful. Portable calm. Portable alertness. You think briefly about how scent marks space. This cave smells like home, like safety. Predators notice that. So do humans. Scent draws boundaries where walls cannot. You notice a faint sweetness now layered beneath everything else. Dried berries, perhaps, or resin burned lightly. Someone likes how it smells. That's reason enough. You lean against the cave wall briefly, stone cool against your back, and let the scented air wash over you. The contrast between cool stone and warm, fragrant air feels grounding. Sensory balance again. You close your eyes for a moment. Try it with me. Just imagine it. Warmth on your face. Cool stone at your back. Mint and rosemary in the air. Lavender softening the edges. Your mind doesn't race here. It doesn't need to. Scent holds it gently in place. You open your eyes again and notice how much clearer everything looks. Colors seem slightly sharper, shadows more defined. Scent wakes sight in subtle ways. You pick up another herb bundle, this one sharper, more medicinal. You crush a leaf between your fingers and notice how your sinuses respond instantly. Clearer, open. You smile faintly. Effective. You tuck the bundle into your belt or pouch. Saved for later. Headaches, wounds, rituals. Herbs multitask. You realize something quietly amusing. In a world without mirrors, scent is how you know yourself. You smell your own clothing, your hands, your hair, smoke, herbs, animal, earth. You smell like where you belong. You take one final deep breath near the fire, filling your lungs with layered scent, and then step away. Slowly. Too much is overwhelming. Balance again. As you move toward the entrance, the outside air meets the scented air, blending into something new. Freshness tempered by familiarity. Day meeting home. You pause at the threshold and breathe one last time, letting the scent settle into you, into your clothes, into your hair. You'll carry it with you. A moving boundary of comfort. You realize something profound without making it heavy. These scents aren't luxury, They're tools. They calm nerves before danger. They sharpen focus before movement. They create psychological shelter when physical shelter ends. And as you step forward, wrapped in layered warmth and lingering herb smoke, you feel centered, not sleepy, not rushed, not tense, just ready. The day can begin. You move toward the tools next, almost without deciding to. They wait where they always do, arranged not neatly, but intentionally, leaning against stone, resting on hides, nested into shallow grooves worn smooth by years of handling. Tools here are not stored, they're remembered. Your hands know where to reach before your eyes confirm it. You kneel beside them and let your fingers hover for a moment. This pause matters. Tools are extensions of the body. You don't grab them casually. You acknowledge them first. You pick up a stone blade, its edge wrapped carefully in leather. When you slide the cover off, the air seems to sharpen around it. The blade catches firelight and throws it back, dull gray with a wickedly clean edge. You tilt it slightly, checking for chips. None. Good. You run your thumb gently along the spine. Never the edge. Pressure like this has been learned through small mistakes. Shallow cuts that taught respect. The stone is cold, but it warms quickly in your hand. Familiar weight. Balanced. You test it by slicing the air once, slowly. Silent. Smooth. The motion feels right. You set it down and reach for another tool, a scraper. Thicker. Heavier. Its edge blunt, but purposeful. You inspect the working surface, rubbing your thumb across it. Slight wear. Acceptable. It will still do its job. You place it back exactly where it was. Order saves time. You lift a wooden shaft next, the beginnings of a spear or throwing stick. The wood is straight, carefully chosen, cured by smoke and patience. You roll it across your palms, feeling for warping. None. You sight down its length with one eye closed. Straight. You check the binding at the tip fiber wound tight, sealed with resin. You press gently. No give. Good. A loose binding fails at the worst moment. You smell the resin faintly as you test it. Pine. Sticky. Protective. It holds under heat and cold. Someone learned which trees matter. You place the spear aside and reach for a smaller pouch. Inside are flakes of stone. Sharp and irregular. Saved intentionally. Waste doesn't exist here. Every flake is a future edge. You pick one up and turn it in the light. It's no larger than your thumb, but sharp enough to slice hide cleanly. You tuck it back into the pouch carefully. Emergency blade. Backup plan. You hear soft scraping nearby as someone else checks their tools too. The sound is rhythmic, calming. Stone on stone. Maintenance is meditation. You take a flat stone and draw the blade across it gently, just enough to refine the edge, not sharpening, maintaining. You keep the angle steady, pressure light. Stone sings faintly under contact, a sound you've heard hundreds of times. You pause after a few strokes and test the edge again, slicing a loose fiber cleanly. Satisfied, you stop. Overworking dulls. Knowing when to stop is skill. You wipe the blade on your leggings and rewrap it carefully. Edges deserve protection. Tools that last are treated kindly. You move to another item, a cord, braided from plant fiber. You tug at it, Testing strength. It holds. You knot and unknot it once, ensuring flexibility. Cordage solves many problems. Broken cord creates them. You notice a small nick in one section and frown slightly. You trim it cleanly with the stone blade and retie the end. Problem prevented. Quiet success. You feel your focus sharpen as you work. Tool checking organizes the mind. Each item accounted for reduces uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty conserves energy. You reach for a simple club next, heavy at one end, polished smooth where hands have gripped it. You swing it gently, feeling momentum. It moves predictably. That matters. You lean it back against the wall, handle angled exactly where your hand expects it. Placement is memory. You scan the remaining tools visually now, confirming what your hands already know. Everything present. Nothing missing. That knowledge settles something deep in your chest. You notice how different this feels from modern preparation. No lists, no alarms, no packing in haste. Just touch, test, confirm. You check your belt area, adjusting where tools will hang. Weight distribution matters. Too heavy on one side strains the back. You shift a blade slightly. Better. You take a step and twist your torso, mimicking movement. Nothing bangs. Nothing pulls. Nothing snags. Perfect. The dog watches you from nearby, head tilted, eyes tracking your movements. It understands preparation. When you check tools, movement follows. You glance outside briefly, then back to the tools. Timing feels right. You take one last look at the firelit arrangement and feel something close to gratitude. These objects are not separate from you. They extend your reach. They multiply your ability. You remember dimly, without words, that tools are the reason mornings lead to evenings. That preparation is what allows rest later. You stand slowly and roll your shoulders again. Your body feels aligned now, warm, hydrated, scented, equipped. Someone near you gives a quiet nod, no comment. Your readiness is visible. You realize something gently profound. This part of the morning isn't about fear of what might happen. It's about respect for what could. You don't assume danger. You prepare for possibility. And as you step away from the tools, everything secured. Edges wrapped. Bindings tight. You feel a calm confidence settle in, not bravado, not tension, just competence. You are ready to move, whatever the day asks. You don't speak yet. No one does. The morning has reached the part where words would only get in the way. You stand among others now, close enough to feel shared warmth, but not so close that space disappears. The fire crackles softly behind you. Tools settled, animals calm. Everything important has been checked. What remains is alignment. This is where communication happens without language. You glance to your left. Someone meets your eyes briefly, then looks toward the cave entrance. That's not instruction, it's confirmation. Yes, the light is good. Yes. The timing feels right. You nod once, small and precise. The exchange is complete. You shift your weight slightly, and someone else mirrors it. Not intentionally, not consciously. Bodies sync when they've moved together long enough. You feel it in the way breath matches breath, in the shared pause before motion. You notice hands. Hands resting loosely at sides, hands adjusting belts, hands brushing fur, stone, accord. These small movements say more than speech ever could. Readiness, calm, familiarity. You catch a faint smile on someone's face quick, almost gone before you register it. Not joy exactly, more like recognition. We are here. We made it to morning. You think briefly about how much communication modern life forces into words, instructions, explanations, clarifications. Here, silence is efficient. Words are reserved for when silence fails. You take a slow breath and feel others do the same around you. No signal given, no command issued, just a shared inhalation, like the group itself is a single organism expanding its lungs. You glance down at the ground briefly, then back up. Someone across from you shifts their stance, angling slightly toward the path outside. That's the direction. You don't need to ask where you're going. You already know. You notice a small child nearby watching the adults carefully, eyes wide and serious. They're learning this language now, watching pauses, watching nods, watching when people don't move. This is how culture transmits itself. You soften your posture slightly when you notice the child, offering reassurance without words, a relaxed shoulder, a calm expression. The message lands. You adjust your fur once more and catch another person doing the same. Synchrony again. Even self-soothing spreads. You realize how much trust exists in this quiet moment. No one is checking anyone else's tools now. That happened already. No one is giving instructions. Everyone assumes competence. Trust reduces noise. You listen again, not outward this time, but inward. Your body feels settled, warm, alert. You don't feel rushed. That's important. Rushed groups make mistakes. You meet someone's gaze again, this time holding it a second longer. They raise their eyebrows slightly, then tilt their head. Question. You respond with a small shake of your head. Not yet. The answer is accepted immediately. This is negotiation without friction. The dog moves closer, positioning itself naturally at the edge of the group, angled toward the outside world. Animals understand formation instinctively. You register its placement and feel a subtle ease. Extra eyes, extra ears. You notice how even standing positions matter. Taller bodies toward the outer edge, smaller bodies protected inward. No one assigned this. It emerges naturally. You shift your foot slightly to avoid a patch of loose gravel. Someone else does the same a moment later. Attention ripples outward. You imagine how this might look from above a quiet circle of humans, barely moving, communicating through posture and breath, efficient, elegant, ancient. You resist the urge to fill the silence with thought. Silence doesn't need filling. It holds. Try it with me for a moment. Imagine standing there. No music, no voices, just breath, warmth, awareness. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Notice how much you understand without words. You feel a subtle change in the group now. Not tension focus, the kind that sharpens edges without hardening them. It's time to transition. Someone takes a half step forward, testing. No one follows yet. That's not the move. It's a question. You answer by stepping forward too. Matching distance. Two bodies now closer to the entrance. The group responds, shifting as one, forming a loose line rather than a cluster. No one says, "Let's go." You go anyway, but slowly. You step just past the threshold and stop. Others join you. The group compresses, then settles again. Outside air washes over everyone at once. You feel how people respond. Some pull fur tighter, some lift chins slightly. Information gathered. You glance back once, instinctively. The fire still burns. The cave still breathes. Someone remains behind briefly, tending embers, watching the animals. Division of labor happens without discussion. You make eye contact with them. They lift a hand slightly. All good. You turn forward again. You notice how communication shifts now that you're outside. Gestures become smaller, eye contact shorter. Sound carries differently in open space. You lower your voice instinctively, even though you're not speaking. Your body understands acoustics. Someone ahead slows their pace slightly. You match it without thinking. Pace is another language. You catch the scent of herbs on the breeze now. Faint but present. It's reassuring. A reminder of home traveling with you. You look at the ground ahead and see where others have stepped before subtle depressions, scuffed soil. You follow them, not out of obedience, but efficiency. Known paths cost less energy. You realize something quietly meaningful. This wordless communication isn't primitive. It's refined. It requires attention, empathy, trust, self-regulation. It only works when people are present. And as you move together now, bodies aligned, eyes scanning, breath steady, you feel part of something larger than yourself, but not lost within it. You are seen. You are understood. You are not alone. And without ever speaking, you and those around you have said everything that needs to be said to begin the day. You circle back toward the fire one last time, not because anything is unfinished, but because warmth is a resource you don't waste. The group has shifted into motion outside, but a few of you linger, moving with quiet purpose around the glowing stones and benches arranged nearby. These aren't seats in the modern sense. They're heat reservoirs. Thermal memory made useful. You kneel beside a long, flat stone positioned close to the embers overnight. Its surface is darkened, smooth, and when you hover your palm above it, you feel the heat rising steadily, like a held breath finally released. Not scorching, not fading. Perfect. You place both hands on it. Warmth seeps into your skin immediately, sinking deeper than fire alone ever could. Stone delivers heat slowly, generously. It doesn't rush. It teaches patience just by existing. You lean forward and sit on the stone bench, letting heat transfer upward through layers of wool and fur, straight into your core. You feel it bloom there, spreading outward. Your spine relaxes. Your hips soften. This is not indulgence. This is efficiency. You notice others doing the same, briefly warming hands, feet, backs. No one lingers too long. Heat shared too long is heat wasted. Everyone takes just enough. You stretch your legs out in front of you, boots off again briefly, soles hovering near another warmed stone. The cold that had crept back during movement retreats immediately. Blood flows more easily. Toes uncurl. You flex your feet slowly, enjoying the contrast heat against skin, cool air brushing ankles. Sensory contrast wakes the nervous system without stress. Someone learned that long ago, probably by accident, then remembered it on purpose. You place a small stone near the fire using a stick, rotating it carefully. This one will be ready later. You think ahead without thinking about it. Future, you will be grateful. You notice how the fire has changed since earlier. Stronger now. Steadier. The embers glow deeper red, supported by thicker wood added gradually. This fire will last. That matters. You lean your back briefly against the cave wall, stone cool at your shoulders, warm at your lower back from the bench. Hot and cold meet there, creating a gentle alertness. Your posture straightens naturally. You breathe slowly and notice how your body feels now compared to earlier. Fully awake. Not buzzing. Just ready. You glance at the ground near the fire and notice shallow impressions where people have stood repeatedly over time. Warm spots, habitual paths. The cave remembers where people gather. Stone records behavior. You think softly about how warming benches are architecture before architecture. No walls, no roofs, just placement. Understanding how heat behaves and cooperating with it. You reach out and adjust a fur draped nearby, pulling it closer to the bench so it absorbs warmth too. Later, someone will wrap in it and benefit. Heat delayed is still heat used. You rub your hands together again and then rest them on your thighs. Palms down, letting warmth sink into larger muscles. Hands are important. Yes, but thighs carry you. You take care of them. You notice the dog lying nearby, belly against a warmed patch of earth, eyes half closed. It knows. Animals always know where warmth lives. You smile faintly and mirror the posture briefly, crouching low, letting heat rise toward you from below. Ground warmth feels different from fire warmth, more stable, less demanding. You listen to the subtle sounds around you, the crackle of wood settling, the faint scrape of stone as someone adjusts another bench, the soft sigh of someone exhaling deeply as warmth reaches their lower back. These sounds mean comfort, temporary, earned comfort. You shift your weight and feel no stiffness now. Your body responds fluidly. Heat has done its job. You stand slowly, testing balance again, solid. You take one step, then another, making a small circle around the fire. No tightness, no resistance. You reach down and press your palm flat against the warmed stone one last time, as if sealing the sensation into memory. You will remember this later when the day turns colder. Memory of warmth can carry you surprisingly far. You notice someone else watching you do the same. They nod once. Shared understanding. You move a few stones slightly, adjusting their position to catch more heat as the fire shifts. You don't overthink it. Experience guides your hands. These adjustments are small, but they compound over time. You step back and survey the arrangement, satisfied. The cave feels balanced now. Heat stored, fire steady, paths clear, animals calm. You realize something quietly reassuring. This moment warming benches, heated stones, bodies sharing heat is how humans extended their mornings. It's how they stretched limited resources gently across time. Before insulation, before architecture, before technology, there was understanding. You take one final breath near the fire, letting warmth fill your chest, and then turn toward the entrance again. The group outside is ready. You can feel it without seeing it. As you step away from the fire and into cooler air once more, you don't feel the bite like before. Your body carries warmth with it now, stored in muscle, bone, and memory. You are not dependent on the fire anymore. You are warmed, prepared, balanced. And as you move forward, leaving glowing stones behind to hold the cave's heartbeat steady, you carry that warmth with you, quiet, efficient, and enough. You slow your movements again, just slightly. This part of the morning is quieter, more personal, not urgent, not shared in the same way as fire or tools. It's about tending to yourself enough to function, enough to feel human. Grooming here is not about appearance. It's about comfort, health, and readiness. You move toward a small area near the cave wall, where water has collected in a shallow stone basin. It's not perfectly clear, but it's clean enough. Someone placed it where drips fall naturally from the ceiling, filtered through layers of rock. Gravity and time do most of the work. You kneel and dip your fingers in. Cold. Not painfully so, but sharp enough to make you hiss softly through your teeth. You smile at yourself. Cold water wakes you in a different way than fire ever could. You scoop a little and bring it to your face, splashing gently. The sensation is immediate skin tightening, pores reacting, awareness snapping into place. You rub slowly, fingertips moving across cheeks, forehead, jaw. Dirt loosens. Sleep residue fades. You rinse your hands again and smooth water through your hair, fingers combing gently, not to style, to detangle, to check for debris, to feel your scalp. Fingers are the first diagnostic tool. You pause and feel along the back of your neck where tension collects. You press lightly with your thumb until warmth and relief follow. A small knot releases. Good. You scoop another handful of water and rinse your mouth again, spitting carefully onto the ground away from footpaths. Hygiene here is deliberate, even without ceremony. You notice how refreshed you feel already. Clean skin breathes differently. Sweat evaporates more easily. Cold water tightens and resets. You reach for a small bundle nearby. Fibrous. Dry. Moss. Maybe. Soft. Absorbent. You pat your face and hands dry. Then tuck the moss back where it belongs. Reusable. Practical. You check your hands closely now. Palms up, small cracks, old scars, dirt embedded under nails. You scrape gently with the edge of a stone flake, careful not to cut. Hands do everything. You take care of them. You rub a small amount of animal fat between your fingers, saved for this purpose, and work it into the skin. It seals moisture in, prevents cracking, smells faintly smoky, functional skincare, perfected by necessity. You flex your fingers slowly, feeling smoothness return. No sting. Good. You move to your feet next, sitting briefly to lift one leg at a time. You brush dirt away, check for cuts, splinters, swelling. Feet carry you over unforgiving ground. You don't ignore them. You rinse one foot quickly, then the other, drying them thoroughly before slipping footwear back on. Moisture trapped too long invites trouble. You've learned that lesson before. You roll your ankles once more and feel no resistance. All clear. You straighten and smooth your clothing, brushing ash and dust away with long strokes of your hands. Not perfect, just better. Clean enough that friction won't irritate later. You notice someone else nearby performing the same small rituals, rinsing hands, adjusting clothing, rubbing salve into skin. You don't comment. Everyone needs this moment. You reach up and rub your jaw, Then open and close your mouth slowly. You clench without realizing it sometimes. You release it now, feeling tension drain downward. You take a moment to breathe deeply again, noticing how different the air feels on clean skin. More distinct, cooler, sharper. You inhale through your nose and feel scent more clearly than before. You glance at your reflection faintly in the water's surface. It's distorted, broken by ripples and light. You don't linger. Mirrors aren't necessary. You know yourself by feel, not by image. You check your ears briefly, clearing anything lodged there. Hearing matters. You don't let small discomforts become big problems. You rub your forearms again, spreading the last of the animal fat thinly, protection against wind, against dryness, against cold. It soaks in quickly. You realize something quietly reassuring. Even without mirrors, soap, or modern tools, humans have always cared for their bodies. Not for vanity, for survival, for comfort, for dignity. You straighten your posture and feel balanced again. Nothing pulling, nothing pinching, nothing distracting. Your body feels like a well-maintained tool. You shake your hands once, lightly, letting them hang loose at your sides. Ready. You take one final look at the water basin, then at your hands. Now clean enough, supple enough, functional. You nod to yourself, small and satisfied. This part of the morning is complete, and as you step away, joining the others again, you feel something subtle but important. You don't just look ready. You feel ready, from skin to bone. You step fully into the open now, past the shelter of stone and smoke, and the sky claims your attention immediately. Not dramatically, not with spectacle, just enough to matter. You lift your chin slightly and let your eyes adjust. The light is different out here, broader, cooler, more honest. It spreads evenly across the land, revealing shapes without demanding focus. Morning light doesn't shout. It suggests. You scan the sky slowly, not looking for beauty, but for clues. Clouds stretch thin and pale, brushed like long fibers across blue. They move steadily from one direction to another, unbroken. That tells you wind will remain consistent for a while. No sudden shifts, no surprise storms. You file that away. You notice the color near the horizon lighter, almost silvery. The sun is still low, not fully present yet, but its influence is already shaping temperature. You feel it faintly on your face, a subtle contrast to the cold air. Sun before warmth is promise. You squint slightly and judge the angle, not too steep. The day will warm gradually, good for long movement, bad for lingering dampness. You'll need to keep layers adjusted. You glance down briefly and notice how frost lingers in shadowed patches while open ground has already softened. That tells you where the sun has touched first. That tells you which paths will be slick later and which will dry quickly. You lift your gaze again and follow a bird crossing overhead, wings beating steadily. It's not circling, not fleeing, just traveling. That means stability. You relax a fraction. You take a slow breath and notice how the air smells different now, cleaner, wider, less smoke, more earth. You catch a faint scent of water carried on the breeze, not close, but present. Streams will be running today. Good. You turn slightly, letting the light hit your eyes from another angle. You're not staring into the sun, you never do. You're reading how it interacts with cloud edges, how brightness diffuses. Bright halos mean thin cloud cover. Thick shadows mean heavier clouds. Today feels light. You notice how shadows fall on the ground around you, long, angled, soft-edged. That tells you the time better than any clock ever could. Early, but not rushed. You've got a window. You glance toward the trees in the distance. Their tops sway gently, but trunks remain still. Wind up high, calm below. That means shelter is effective today. Movement through trees will be quiet. You kneel briefly and touch the ground, feeling temperature again. Cool, but not biting. You rub soil between your fingers. Slightly damp. Rain fell recently, but not enough to flood. Growth will be good. Roots easier to dig. Tracks easier to read. You stand again and tilt your head, listening to the open space now. Sound travels farther here. You hear birds more clearly. You hear nothing else out of place. The sky and the land agree with each other. That matters. You notice how the light touches people differently, faces half lit, fur glowing softly at the edges, movement outlined. You can see everyone clearly without straining. Visibility is good. Another quiet advantage. You adjust your fur slightly, opening it just enough to let sunlight touch your chest. Solar warmth feels different than fire warmth. Lighter, less demanding. It doesn't pull you inward. It expands you outward. You close your eyes briefly and let sunlight touch your eyelids. Warmth seeps in gently. It tells your body the day has officially begun. Hormones shift. Energy rises. You don't name it. You feel it. You open your eyes again and scan the sky once more, this time looking for birds of prey. None circling. None calling sharply. Good. Predators haven't claimed the morning yet. You notice cloud movement again, unchanged. Consistency holds. You trust it for now. Knowing trust is always provisional. You feel a faint breeze brush your neck and adjust your collar instinctively. Small adjustments now prevent bigger discomfort later. You don't wait to be cold. You look toward the sun's path and imagine where it will be in a few hours. You trace its arc mentally across the sky. That tells you where shade will fall later, where to rest, where not to linger. You hear someone behind you exhale deeply, satisfied. They've read the sky too. You don't need to compare notes. Agreement lives in shared posture. You realize something quietly grounding. The sky is your schedule. It tells you when to move, when to rest, when to return. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't lie. It doesn't care about plans, but it rewards attention. You take another slow breath, letting cool air fill your lungs, and feel how open everything feels now. Wide. Possible. Not overwhelming. Just available. You glance back once toward the cave entrance. Smoke rises cleanly, fire stable, home secure. That chapter of the morning is complete. You turn forward again, eyes lifted, scanning the land beneath the sky you've just read. You feel aligned, not because the day will be easy, but because you understand its shape. And as you take your next step forward, guided not by urgency, but by light and shadow, you carry that understanding with you. The sky has spoken. You listened. Hunger finally steps forward now, patient but undeniable. Not sharp, not desperate, just present. You feel it low in your body first. A gentle pull that reminds you fuel matters as much as warmth. Movement burns energy. Attention burns energy. Thinking burns energy. You don't ignore hunger here. You schedule it. You move back toward the fire, where simple food waits, not displayed, not announced, just there. Morning food isn't elaborate. It isn't celebratory. It's functional, designed to carry you forward rather than slow you down. You crouch and reach for a small portion set aside on a flat stone near the embers. Roasted meat, cooled but still warm at the center. The surface is darkened, edges crisped just enough to preserve. Fat glistens faintly in the firelight. You pause before eating. That pause matters too. You breathe in and notice the smell. Smoky, rich, grounding. Your mouth responds immediately, saliva gathering. But you don't rush. You break off a small piece first. Small portions wake digestion gently. Large ones demand too much too soon. You bring it to your mouth and chew slowly. The texture is firm but yielding. Fibers separating cleanly. The flavor spreads gradually, smoke first, then meat, then fat. Warmth follows. Calories arrive quietly, efficiently. Your body recognizes them instantly. You swallow and feel the food settle. Not heavily, just present. Energy cued. Hunger eases without disappearing completely. That's intentional. You don't eat to fullness in the morning. You eat to readiness. You take another bite, slightly larger this time, chewing thoroughly. Digestion starts in the mouth here. Teeth do real work. You appreciate them. You notice how quiet the space becomes as others eat too. Chewing is one of the few sounds allowed in this part of the morning. No talking, no instruction. Eating is inward. You reach for a few roots next. Roasted in ash overnight, their skins peel away easily, revealing soft interiors. You blow lightly on one before biting. It's warm, sweet, earthy. The contrast with meat feels balanced. Protein and carbohydrates, chosen without labels. You chew slowly again, noticing how the sweetness wakes your senses differently than fat did. This food feeds movement. The meat feeds strength. Someone learned that combination works. You wipe your fingers on your leggings and notice grease left behind. You don't mind. Fat protects skin. It will be rubbed in later without thought. You take a small sip of warm water again, not to wash food down, but to assist it. Digestion is cooperation, not force. You glance around and notice how people eat at slightly different paces. No one corrects anyone. Bodies differ. Needs differ. Respect remains. You reach for a pinch of dried berries next tart. Intense. You pop one into your mouth and feel your face react instantly. Eyes widen slightly. Jaw tightens. You smile faintly. Sharp flavors wake the mind. You chew and swallow, then take another sip of water. The combination settles pleasantly. You feel energy rising now, not spiking, just filling in. The hollow feeling in your belly smooths out. Your limbs feel steadier. Thought feels clearer. You stop eating before your hand reaches automatically for more. You listen inward and recognize the moment. Enough. More later. You wrap the remaining food carefully and place it back near the fire. positioned to stay warm but protected. Food management is as important as food itself. You wipe your hands again and flex your fingers, noticing how they move easily now. No sluggishness. Good. You stand slowly, testing how your body feels with fuel added, stronger, more responsive. No heaviness pulling you down. You take a few steps and notice how balance feels improved. Blood sugar stabilized, muscles fueled. Small differences add up. You glance at the dog nearby and toss it a small scrap. It catches it cleanly, tail flicking once before it eats. Shared meals reinforce bonds. No words needed. You breathe deeply again and feel warmth from food spreading outward from your core, layering over the warmth already stored there. Heat from inside lasts longer than heat from fire. You realize something quietly important. Morning food here isn't comfort food. It's continuity food. It connects last night's hunt or gathering to today's movement. It turns effort into ability. You look toward the path ahead again, feeling grounded, fueled, and steady. Hunger no longer distracts. It supports. You take one last small sip of water and clear your throat gently. Your voice feels ready now, if needed. Hydration and food prepare even that. You straighten your shoulders and feel the quiet satisfaction that comes from a body properly cared for, not indulged, not ignored, supported. And as you step away from the fire once more, meal finished, energy restored, you carry the simple confidence that comes from doing things in the right order. Warmth, water, attention, food, only then movement. The day waits, and now you are properly fed enough to meet it. You don't announce plans. You feel them take shape. As the warmth from food settles into your core, your attention shifts outward again, expanding from body to space, from need to intention. This part of the morning is quiet in a different way, less ritual, more orientation. You stand just outside the cave now, feet planted, shoulders relaxed, eyes scanning the familiar landscape. You aren't daydreaming, you're mapping, not with lines or symbols, but with memory, terrain, and probability. You picture the land around you as it exists right now, not as an abstract idea. The slope to the east where roots grow best after rain, the shallow valley where animals pass when water levels are low, the rocky ridge that catches sun early and melts frost first. These places live in your mind like rooms in a house. You don't think in terms of what will I do today. You think in terms of what does today allow. The sky told you one part, the ground told you another. Your body gave you its answer through warmth, hydration, and hunger. Now the pieces align. You shift your weight slightly and notice how your balance feels strong. That matters. Long movement favors steadiness over speed. You glance at the others nearby, not to ask, but to confirm. Someone adjusts a strap. Someone checks a pouch. Someone else looks toward the tree line, then down at the ground. You're all reading the same information, just from different angles. No one is in a hurry to decide. Rushed plans break easily. You take a few steps and stop again, looking at the path that leads away from the cave. It's worn, but not deeply. That means it's used often enough to be familiar, but not so often that it's depleted. Balance again. You kneel briefly and trace a line in the dirt with your finger, absent-minded. Thoughtful, not a map, a gesture. You wipe it away just as easily. Plans here are flexible. You realize something gently reassuring. Planning here doesn't mean committing. It means preparing to adapt. You stand and stretch your arms lightly once more, feeling how your shoulders move freely. You imagine carrying weight, tools, food, fire. You adjust your belt again, shifting load distribution slightly in anticipation. You glance at the dog, who watches you closely. It senses change. Its posture shifts subtly alert, but not tense. It will follow whichever path you choose. Responsibility acknowledged. You look toward the forest edge and listen again, just briefly. Soundscape unchanged. No new information. That's information too. You imagine the morning unfolding in broad strokes. Movement, observation, small tasks completed along the way. Nothing dramatic, just continuity. You feel a faint flicker of satisfaction in that. Not every day needs conquest. Some days just need care. You notice how your breathing has changed again, slower, deeper, steadier. Planning has that effect. Uncertainty tightens breath. Clarity loosens it. You step closer to someone and exchange a glance. This one lasts a moment longer. You both look toward the same direction, then back at each other. Agreement forms without shape or sound. You nod once. They nod back. That's enough. You adjust your fur again, opening it slightly at the front. Movement will generate heat soon. You prepare for that, rather than reacting later. You reach down and pick up a small stone, testing its weight, then set it back down. Habit, touch grounds thought. You realize how different this planning feels from modern life. No pressure to optimize. No fear of missing something. Just responsiveness. You aren't trying to control the day. You're trying to move with it. You take a step forward, then pause again, not because you doubt, but because you check. Checking is part of planning. You glance back toward the cave one more time. Smoke still rises cleanly. Someone remains behind. Attentive. The animals are settled. Home is stable. That knowledge frees you to leave it. You look forward again and feel your body lean slightly in that direction. The decision has already been made by the time you notice it. You don't announce it. You begin walking. Others fall into place around you naturally, spacing themselves without discussion. Formation emerges from habit and terrain. You don't walk shoulder to shoulder. You walk staggered, aware of sight lines and sound. You feel the rhythm of movement settle in step, breath, step. The ground meets you halfway now, familiar and responsive. Your body no longer thinks about walking. It simply does. You glance at the sun again, judging angle and time. Plenty of morning left, no rush. You think softly about what you might encounter, not catastrophes, just possibilities. Tracks, edible plants, signs of weather change. You prepare mentally without anxiety. You notice how planning has quieted your mind rather than filled it. There's nothing left to decide right now. You've done enough. You feel present. Try to notice that feeling with me. The absence of mental noise. The sense that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what the moment asks. You realize something quietly profound. This is what intention feels like before it becomes action. Not excitement, not fear, just alignment. You move forward now with that alignment guiding you not rigidly, but gently, like a hand at your back rather than a rope pulling you forward. The morning routine has done its work, not by telling you what to do, but by making you ready to do it. And as the land opens ahead of you and the path carries you onward, you trust yourself to adjust, respond, and continue step by step through whatever the day becomes. You slow again, not because you're tired, but because something inside you asks for stillness. It's subtle, easy to ignore, but you don't. You step off the path just slightly and pause, letting others move ahead a few paces. No one questions it. Space like this is understood. Reflection isn't separation, it's calibration. You stand quietly, feet planted, and let the world come to you. The morning air feels different now that you've been moving for a while. Warmer, softer. It slides across your skin instead of biting. You notice how your body has found its rhythm, breath steady, muscles engaged without strain, thoughts calm and spacious. This is the moment early humans rarely rushed past. A pocket of awareness between preparation and action. You look around slowly, not scanning for threats or resources, but simply noticing. Light filtering through branches, dust drifting lazily in the air, the way shadows shift as leaves move above you. Everything is in motion, but nothing feels urgent. You listen again, but differently than before. Not for danger, for meaning. You hear the distant call of a bird and recognize it not by name, but by familiarity. You've heard this call in many mornings, across many seasons. It means normalcy, continuity, life continuing its quiet work. You hear your own breath and notice how soft it is now. Earlier, it carried cold and smoke. Now it carries warmth and motion. Breath changes with circumstance. So do you. You rest your hands lightly on your thighs and feel the residual warmth from the fire, from food, from movement. Heat lives inside you now. You're not borrowing it anymore. You've made your own. You think not sharply, not insistently, but gently, about how many mornings like this you've lived. Not counted, felt. Each one slightly different. Each one shaped by weather, season, hunger, loss, success. And yet, the same rituals repeat. Wake, warm, listen, prepare, move. There's comfort in that repetition. You realize something quietly emotional. Routine isn't monotony. It's reassurance. You let that thought settle without analyzing it further. Overthinking ruins good reflections. You let it pass through you like breath. You glance down at your hands again, noticing the scars there, some old, some fading. Each one has a story. None of them are loud. Survival doesn't brag. It leaves marks and moves on. You flex your fingers slowly, feeling strength and flexibility coexist. You're not invincible. You don't need to be. You're capable. That's enough. You look up at the sky again through the branches and notice how much brighter it is now. The morning has matured. Whatever you choose to do today will happen under full daylight. Visibility brings confidence. You feel a sense of gratitude rise, not directed at anything specific. Just a general appreciation for being here, in this body, in this moment, with enough warmth, enough food, enough clarity. Gratitude here isn't performative. It's physiological. A calm nervous system feels grateful because it's safe enough to do so. You notice how your shoulders sit naturally. Now no tension creeping upward. Your jaw remains unclenched. Your brow smooth. These are signs you've learned to recognize. They tell you something important. You're regulated. You hear someone behind you shift and stop, giving you space. They sense your pause and honor it. Mutual respect doesn't require explanation. You inhale deeply and let the air fill your lungs completely. Then exhale slowly, longer than the inhale. This signals rest, even while standing. A trick your body learned long ago. You imagine how this moment would feel after loss, after danger, after hunger, and you realize how precious uneventful mornings are. Peace isn't dramatic. It's quiet. You tilt your head slightly and listen to the land again, not for survival data this time, but for companionship. Wind and grass, leaves brushing each other, insects waking. The world is alive alongside you, not opposed to you. You feel small in the best possible way, not insignificant, connected. You remember without words that humans didn't always see themselves as separate from the world, not managers of it, not conquerors of it. Participants. You shift your weight slightly and feel how stable you are. No wobble, no hesitation. You're fully present in your body, fully aware of your surroundings, and fully at ease with both. This is the psychological gift of a well-structured morning. It clears internal noise. It makes room for awareness. You realize something deeply calming. Nothing is being asked of you right now. You are simply allowed to be. You stand there for another breath or two, letting that permission sink in. Then, naturally, without forcing it, you feel the pull to rejoin the others. Reflection has done its work. Stillness has given you what it can. You take a step forward, then another, closing the distance between yourself and the group. Movement resumes seamlessly, as if you never paused at all. You feel lighter now, not physically, but mentally. Clear, grounded, ready. And as you walk, carrying that quiet reflection with you, you understand something that doesn't need explanation. This moment of stillness is just as important as every action that follows. You feel the shift before anyone moves. It's subtle, like the moment before a wave breaks nothing dramatic, just an undeniable sense that waiting has ended. Reflection has done its work. Stillness has settled into readiness. The pause closes naturally, without announcement. You step forward again, this time without hesitation. The land opens in front of you, familiar yet never fully predictable. Light spreads more evenly now, touching the ground in broad strokes. Shadows shorten, colors deepen. The day is no longer waking. It's awake. You adjust your pace, letting your stride lengthen slightly. Muscles respond easily. No stiffness. No drag. Your body feels like it belongs in motion. Not because it's young or strong, but because it's prepared. You glance ahead and notice how the group reshapes itself instinctively. Spacing adjusts. Angles shift. No one leads outright. Yet direction is clear. This is how humans have always moved together, guided by awareness rather than command. You feel the weight of your tools at your side, familiar and unobtrusive. They don't pull you down. They reassure you. Preparedness feels lighter than anxiety ever could. The dog moves a little farther ahead now, nose low, tail level, Its body language changes with the terrain, and you read it easily. No tension, no alarm, just curiosity layered with purpose. You listen again as you walk. Footsteps soft, irregular, intentionally quiet. Breathing steady, shared, almost rhythmic. Wind still consistent, still kind. Everything agrees. You step over a fallen branch without breaking stride, placing your foot where you intended before you consciously decide. Your body has stopped asking permission from your mind. This is the state you were moving toward all morning. You feel it clearly now. Momentum. Not haste. Not pressure. Just forward motion that feels correct. You glance back once, briefly, instinctively. The cave is smaller now, half hidden by the curve of land and trees. Smoke rises thin and steady. Home remains behind you. Not lost, just paused. That knowledge steadies you. You turn forward again and let your gaze widen, taking in more distance. This is where the day unfolds, step by step, decision by decision, adjustment by adjustment. You feel a quiet confidence settle in, not arrogance, not certainty of success, just trust in process. You've done what needed to be done. Whatever happens next, you'll respond as it comes. You notice how your senses work together now rather than competing. Sight informs sound. Sound sharpens touch. Smell adds context. Nothing overwhelms. Everything collaborates. This is the payoff of routine, not comfort. Clarity. You walk for a while without thinking at all, and when thoughts return, they're light, practical, unburdened. You notice a plant you might return to later, a stone that marks a turn, a patch of ground that will hold tracks well. You don't cling to these details. You let them pass through and settle naturally. You feel present in a way that doesn't require effort. Your shoulders stay relaxed. Your jaw stays loose. Your breath stays deep. These are the signs you've learned to trust. You realize something quietly satisfying. This is what ready actually feels like. Not excitement, not fearlessness, just balance. You adjust your grip on a strap, feeling leather warm under your palm. You roll your shoulders once more, out of habit now, and keep moving. The day hasn't revealed its challenges yet, and that's fine. You're not here to predict everything. You're here to meet what arrives. You think briefly about how many mornings like this have carried humans forward across landscapes, generations, centuries, not through grand plans, but through consistent care. Wake. Warm. Listen. Prepare. Move! Repeat. You feel small again, but strong in that smallness. One person, one body, moving through a vast world with attention instead of domination. You step into a patch of sunlight and feel its warmth spread across your chest and arms. You don't linger. You carry it with you. You walk on, and as you do, you understand something deeply reassuring. Nothing extraordinary needs to happen for this day to be a success. Being awake, being prepared, being present, that's enough. The morning routine has completed its final task not by ending, but by releasing you into the day, steady and capable, with everything you need already inside you. You feel the day fully claim you now. Not abruptly, not forcefully. It settles over you the way a well-worn cloak settles onto your shoulders, familiar, balanced, expected. You are no longer transitioning. You have arrived. Your steps continue forward, steady and unremarkable in the best possible way. The ground responds beneath your feet with a reliability you trust. Soil compresses, stones hold, grass bends and rises again. Each surface confirms that you are exactly where you should be. You notice how your attention naturally widens. Earlier, it narrowed fire, breath, warmth, tools, food. Now it expands outward, encompassing distance, direction, possibility. You don't strain to see far. You simply allow your awareness to stretch. The world feels open. You catch the scent of earth warming as the sun climbs higher. Dampness lifts. Green sharpens. Somewhere ahead, insects begin their quiet work, humming faintly at the edge of hearing. Life accelerates gently around you. You walk with others, but you are not absorbed by them. You are part of the group without losing yourself. Your pace matches theirs without effort. You neither lag nor lead. This equilibrium feels deeply satisfying. You think softly about how different this feels from modern mornings. No urgency snapping at your heels. No artificial deadlines. No noise-demanding reaction. Just sequence. Just readiness. Just movement. You feel the subtle joy of a body functioning as intended. Muscles contract and release smoothly. Breath stays deep and unforced. Heat generated by motion replaces the last borrowed warmth from fire. You are self-sustaining now. You adjust your layers again, loosening them slightly. Sunlight reaches your chest. You let it. Heat management is dynamic. You respond without irritation or drama. You notice how your thoughts remain grounded in the present. When they drift to what is nearby terrain, weather, movement, not abstract worry. Your mind feels useful instead of loud. You spot a familiar landmark ahead, a twisted tree, a rock formation, a bend in the land. It doesn't excite you. It reassures you. Familiarity anchors progress. You realize something quietly meaningful. This morning routine hasn't prepared you for a single task. It has prepared you for variability. You are warm enough, fed enough, aware enough, calm enough. That's the threshold. Everything beyond it is adaptable. You listen again, out of habit now, and feel no tension rise. That's how you know the listening worked. Constant vigilance would exhaust you. Selective attention sustains you. You feel gratitude again, brief and unforced. Gratitude for your body, for the fire left behind, for the quiet competence of routine. It passes through you without clinging. You step over uneven ground and don't stumble. You catch yourself easily when footing shifts. Your body solves problems faster than thought. You think almost fondly about how many generations refined this sequence of waking, warming, tending, preparing. How many mornings went just like this, unrecorded, unnamed, yet foundational to everything that followed. History is built on mornings like this. Unremarkable. Successful. You glance at the sun once more. Higher now, confident in its path. You know when you'll rest. You know when you'll return. Not exactly, but enough. You feel something settle inside you. Completion. Not because the day is over, but because the morning has done its job. You no longer need to think about survival. You can now simply live the day. And as you continue forward, step after grounded step, you carry with you a quiet understanding that feels timeless. This is what it meant to wake up as a human, to meet the world not with noise, but with presence, not with certainty, but with readiness, not with domination, but with cooperation. The morning routine fades into movement. Movement fades into the day, and you walk on, fully awake, fully prepared, fully here. Now, allow the pace to soften. Imagine the path stretching gently ahead of you, familiar and forgiving. Your steps slow, not because you're tired, but because nothing is chasing you. Your breath deepens naturally, in and out, slow and easy. Feel the warmth in your body, earned warmth, steady warmth resting comfortably in your chest and limbs. Notice how your shoulders feel heavy in the best way, relaxed and supported. Your jaw unclenches, your brow smooths. The world around you continues its quiet rhythm without asking anything more of you. Birds move, wind drifts, light shifts. Everything knows how to continue without effort. You realize you don't need to hold on to awareness so tightly now. The day can carry itself. You've done enough. You are safe enough. You are prepared enough. Let your thoughts slow, like embers settling into ash. If you're listening from somewhere far away, in another time, in another bed, allow this calm to travel with you. Let your breathing match the gentle pace of walking. Let your body remember what readiness without stress feels like. Nothing needs to be solved right now. Nothing needs to be planned. You can rest inside this sense of quiet capability. Stay here as long as you like. The fire is steady. The morning is complete. And sleep, if it comes, is welcome. Sweet dreams.